Welcome to the Mystery to Mastery podcast with your host, Keisha Shepard, where ideas become action and stories inspire growth. Through powerful conversations with founders, innovators, and industry leaders, we explore the journeys behind success, the lessons learned along the way, and the strategies shaping the future. Join us as we turn insight into impact and transform mystery into mastery. What is the one thing that has been holding you back for years? The guilt you cannot shake, the anxiety that wakes you up at 3 a.m., the grief that feels brand new. What if all of that was stored in your body as energy? What if it could be released? Not in a decade of therapy, not with a prescription, but in a single session with the right healer. That is not a promise I am making. That is a result that thousands of people have already experienced through the work of my guest today. Today's guest is a man on a mission to liberate communities from emotional baggage they never signed up to carry. Born and raised in Harlem, Jeffrey Vincent Noble spent decades transforming lives through the power of energy medicine and neuro-linguistic programming before it was mainstream. He founded the Noble Touch in 2010 after completing a life-changing spiritual journey to India. In the years since, he has trained over 300 practitioners, led healing missions to Senegal, West Africa, where they did 209 healing sessions. In 2022, he received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, and in 2026 became an Amazon best-selling author in 23 categories. With his book, Stop, Drop, and Roll. He's been featured on Fox 5, WPIX, and WABC, and he has helped thousands of people release guilt, anxiety, grief, and stress, sometimes within a single session. He is the founder of the Noble Touch. Welcome to Mystery to Mastery, Jeffrey V. Noble. Also, during the COVID crisis, his nonprofit 501c3, the Noble Touch, volunteered with over 3,906 hours to helping individuals overcome the symptoms of COVID. I met Jeffrey in Atlanta this year, and we became fast text buddies over things that were happening. And I'm so excited to have him here today. How are you, Jeff?
I am fine. Thank you for such a wonderful
No problem.
introduction.
Now, I would like to start at the beginning of your story. It's because it's the kind of story that definitely needs to be heard. So you had a whole career before this. You were not always a healing alchemist. Take me back. What were you doing and what happened?
Well, my first career, this is my third and final career. I've now found my purpose. Actually, I found my purpose a long time ago, but now I'm living in my purpose. My first career, I owned a commercial printing company, which I built from $400 to a multi-million-dollar company dealing with only Fortune 100 companies. That was my first career. I retired in my 30s, and I was a bum for about 3 years, just living off the money I saved. And when you live off the money that you saved and you don't actually go out and earn any more money, it starts to disappear. And before you know it, you have no money left. I had to go back to work. So when I went back to work, I worked in the mortgage industry for another 13, 14 years and did very, very well in the mortgage industry also. Now, Keisha, all this time, I knew what my purpose was. So I started studying Neuro-Linguistic Programming back when I owned Quavis Press, which was my printing company, my commercial printing company. So I knew all the time I was doing this work in the church. I was the minister of healing in the church. I did premarital counseling, marital counseling in the church. So I was doing all this work in the background and not charging because I was making enough money working that I didn't need to charge for my services. And then when I went to India, I was still in the mortgage business at the time, doing tons of business. And I went to India on a spiritual journey with healers from all over the country, the world, literally. And it was during that time in India where I was by myself one night, that the Creator came to me and started speaking to me. And the Creator told me that I need to quit my job and do this full time. And at that time, I was making 6 figures. And that was back in the early 2000s, right? 2000, about 2014, right? 2015. And so I got in a fight with the creator about me not doing that because I was making so much money, had a lifestyle I was really enjoying, and everything was, cool. I'm the kid from Harlem that wasn't supposed to make it. It's been in the fights, been in some very challenging situations, and to be honest, I've been through shootouts also. So I was supposed to even be here by now. I was supposed to be dead already. However, God spared me to do this work, and he says, listen, I need you to do this full time. I'm like, can't do that. The next thing I know, the creator was telling me to cut off all the hair on my body, from my head all the way down, eyebrows, everything. And I was given a reason to cut off all the hair on my body. Each part that I cut off, there was a reason for cutting it off. It was like an explanation that came with it. I should have wrote all the explanations down because I don't remember them all now. I just remember the major ones that stuck with me the most. And so I cut off all my hair, came back to New York. Well, first of all, I fought for 4 hours. This was not a 15-minute conversation. It was a 4-hour fight with God. So the bottom line, after the fight was over, and of course God won, because I'm from Harlem, I'm used to being in fights. I put up a good fight for Harlem, but God still won. And so I came back to New York on a Tuesday and left my job on Friday. And I had $16 million of business in the pipeline, which someone else got paid for because I had quit the company. And I started the Noble Touch, and it was really rough in the beginning. I didn't know how I was gonna make money anymore or anything else. And I got to the point where I ended up getting a divorce. I ended up almost losing my place. I was about 7 days away from the auction before someone actually gave me the money to pay my arrears because I was, backed up. All the people I had been working with for free all this time, they didn't want to pay me. They was used to me working for free. So now when I'm out to say, hey, I'm doing this for a living now, I need to make money, no one wanted to pay me, so I had to start from the bottom and build all over again. So that's basically how the Noble Touch got started. I left out a lot of it, but that's the gist of it.
That's very interesting. So when you say you had a 4-hour fight with God, I know that must have been a very, very tough decision to walk away from what you did. What was the major thing that really made you decide to make this transition and really just get started? Because a lot of people would still be hesitant.
I didn't know I made the decision, to tell you the truth. When I left India, I still thought I was going back to work. I didn't know I was going to quit. So I cut off all my hair, everything else, because the creator told me to cut my hair off. And the most interesting part about that, she told me to cut the hair off all of my body, like I said. But the part that was the most interesting to me was the head area and the private area. The head area, because I had never shaved before. So I was like, well, I need to call someone and talk to them about how do you shave. I don't know how to shave. But I went to the store, I had stuff, and I didn't know how to shave. And he told me, and the creator said to me that I couldn't call anyone. They had to feel my way to when I was shaving. So in other words, you shave parts of your hair, then you feel to make sure all the hair is gone. God told me that's what I had to do. And that represented that in doing what I'm doing now full-time healing and coaching, that I have to feel my way through. I have to feel how I'm going to make it through. I'm going to have to feel my way through this whole new process that I'm going through. So that's the purpose of cutting off the hair on my head. I have to feel my way through. So it was like metaphorically, everything I cut off, there's a metaphor for it in real life. The private area itself was about, I don't know, I'll just say, you can tell me it was the wrong thing to say, whatever. I had to cut the hair off the private area. And when hair grows back in the private area, it usually itches. I was told I could not scratch no matter what. I was gonna be tempted to scratch, and that temptation meant that I was able to decline temptations I got in the real world to go back to work. And let me tell you, I got it when I quit the other job. About 2 weeks later, I got a job offer for $80,000 to sign on, just to sign on. That I would have gotten a third of it right away, which would have taken care of my mortgage, and I would have been caught up. But that was the temptation that the creator talked about. That I was gonna be offered these opportunities, but I couldn't take them, so I had to stay true to my purpose, which is to educate, motivate, and empower people through healing. So those two things alone I always remember, because boy, oh boy, did I want to scratch at times and I couldn't. And then when that temptation came up, I said, aha, there it is. And I didn't take the job. I struggled through it. But like, to answer your question once again, I didn't know I was quitting my job when I left India. I know I had to do all the stuff I was asked to do, but I didn't know I was going to quit my job. And my wife didn't even want to hug me when she came and picked me from the airport. She told me I looked so different. I looked like I had this white glow around me. She wouldn't even hug me. She didn't hug me for about 2 days, I think it was, before she finally hugged me.
Wow.
So I looked so pure, she said. That don't last long in New York, though.
So what I would like to ask next is, because a lot of people like yourself are high achieving, but they are exhausted. They're carrying a weight they never put down. And when you're talking about this healing process and what you're doing, what does that actually mean in a session? What are you actually doing?
Well, it depends what the person's situation is. I think what stops most people from moving forward in life is fear, doubt, and worry. I always say, if you're not living your dreams, you're living your fears. Either one. Either you're living your dreams or you're living your fears. So it depends what a person comes to see me for. If a person comes to me because they have fear about doing something, whether it's a fear of a phobia, whether it's a, closing spaces, whether it's the fear of success, whether it's the fear of failure, whether it's the fear of the way people want to see you if you do fail, no matter what the fear is, I want to know what the source is. You weren't born with that fear, Keisha. People weren't born with that fear. Somewhere along their trip through their journey through life, someone told them not to do something, they shouldn't do something, whatever it may be. Someone programmed that fear into them. Children are fearless. You think about a child, children are fearless. We learn fear. So the question is, where did you learn the fear? How do you know when to have the fear? And from then I find out, how do they do that in their head? In other words, how are you creating this thing you're calling fear in your head that stop you from living your dreams, from manifesting the divinity in you? How are you creating that? In other words, what type of things are you saying to yourself? What kind of image are you making inside your head that's creating this chemical now, this biological imbalance that we're calling fear? So that's the way it is. Whether it's fear, whether it's some type of trauma from the past, I still want to know when did it start and how do we get rid of it? And that's going to be based on how the person is using their brain.
That is interesting. So the the fear is something that's huge. And you go back and you look and find out when it started?
Yes.
And then
they go back and look at how I guide them back to find out how they started. I don't know when it started for a person. And they usually don't know when it started. But if they can get the feeling of fear in their body, if they get that feeling of fear back in their body, I don't care what the fear is of. If they get the feeling of fear back in their body, we can trace it all the way back to where it started and get rid of it, usually in one session.
In one session. And what happens to a person that all of a sudden their fear is gone? I was reading about someone that had agoraphobia, I think it's called, that you were able to heal. Like, how soon after were they able to just start going back out and enjoying their lives?
Once they realized they changed. What I mean by that is that it happens so fast that your conscious mind has to catch up with the unconscious transformation that was made. So in other words, you may have a fear of something, and then if you don't face that fear right away, you won't know it changed. But if you face that same day in that same session, you'll be like, wait a minute. The look that I get the most is one of confusion. Because people have held on to things for 30, 40 years. If you get rid of it in one session, that was your best friend. You were comfortable in that. So now you're outside of your comfort zone. So you have to learn how to react differently now than the way you have been programmed to react in the past. That makes sense?
It does. It does.
So it usually happens if it's some type of, like if somebody had a fear of snakes, I wouldn't want to have a snake with me to test them. I don't care about anything but results. So if there's a way to test your results, I want to test it right away. Right away.
And so someone that is resistant, how do you deal with that? Like, a lot of people want to stay where they're comfortable. How do you deal with resistance?
That's an excellent question, because you do run into that a lot. People come to see you supposedly to change, but they don't really want to change because they have secondary gain. there's a benefit that they're getting from holding on to that, whatever it may be, their problem, whatever it may be. So, and healing to me, one of the main things you have to do is be a salesperson. You have to love the person beyond their ability to love themselves. And they have to feel your love for them and you're caring for them and you want the best for them. And that's why a lot of times it doesn't take me as long. Number one, because of the information I use. Number two is I'm really good at getting people to believe in themselves, trust themselves, and just give yourself the chance to experience it. I'm not saying everything works for everybody all the time, but I would say when it comes to mental health, no one sees me more than 5 times, 95% of the time. I don't care how long you've had the problem, especially if you can feel it in your body. If you can feel it in your body, it's usually gone in 2 sessions.
2 sessions. So 1, 2, or 3 sessions, if you're not resistant to the change is going to happen. Change is going to come.
There are ways to make you less resistant. So in other words, if you're resistant, Keisha, I may say, well, how long have you had this problem? And you say a number of years. I'll say to them, what has it done for you? Or what have you missed out on because you've been holding on to this problem? And imagine your life 5 years from now with this problem. Same problem, same things happening in your life, nothing's changed, it's getting worse and worse. You're getting older and older, slower and slower, more and more pain, you're losing your memory, you still got this problem. Is that what you want 5 years from now? So I'll even talk to them that way so they can start seeing the way they would be in the future with the same problem if they'll do something about it.
Future visions of your future, I think, is really important, especially seeing yourself achieving the goals that you're trying to achieve. So you're telling them, look at your life without this change. And they see it and they're like, it's more of the same. That's not why I'm here. Right? Okay.
So then they'll say, well, you know what? I think I'd rather just change. Because they don't want that life for themselves. Especially if they've had it for 5 years, they've been carrying this burden for 5 years. Now I'm saying, think about 10 years from now. Think about your kids and your grandkids is looking at you, knowing that you haven't done what you say you wanted to do, but you're trying to tell them what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I bring all those things in to make them feel bad, to motivate them towards, because if you feel bad enough, you're gonna make the change. So usually I don't have anyone that, they start off resistant sometimes, or when a parent bring their child in, and the child is resistant, it's the same type of thing. And sometimes I can do things without people even know I'm doing it. Like I've had people who brought their friend in, no, they didn't bring him in, they told me about a friend that was depressed. And they want me to work with them to help them get rid of depression. And I can do that with Pranic Healing or energy medicine. The energy medicine form that I use is called Pranic Healing, Pranic. And with that, anxiety, depression, a lot of things, I don't have to be in front of you. I don't have to see you. I don't even have to know you. You just give me someone's name and I can help them overcome depression or whatever else it may be.
Wow. That's amazing. So this doesn't have to be in person. You can find this energy in somebody even over the phone, even without talking to them.
Yes.
That's
we have this physical body. We also have what's called the energy body. The scientists call it the biofield. And this field of energy extends beyond our bodies in the field and extends outside of our body. And what people don't realize is that anytime you get sick with anything at all, it's because this energy body has been disturbed. It's out of balance. It's out of harmony. It's not in alignment. And once the energy body gets out of alignment, it leaves the opportunity for disease, colds, stress, everything to seep into the physical body. But as long as you keep your energy body healthy, and we all know what the energy body is because you can walk into a room and like, wait a minute, something's not right here. Or you can feel, right. Or you can meet a person and you just don't feel like you really want to get to know them. Well, they didn't touch you physically, so how do you know it? So our energy body is picking up because their energy is not resonating with our energy. So we feel the difference in that resonation. And we say, wait a minute, nah, this ain't the one. It could be a woman you meet or a guy you meet, like, he's real cute, but something about him. How do you know that? He's a great looking guy. He has everything you want physically, but you know something, but there's no real contact. So once again, our energy body, you cannot not communicate, Keisha. You're communicating all the time. The question, are you communicating what you want to communicate? And the quality of our lives is dependent upon the quality of our communication to ourselves first. How do we talk to ourselves? when things are going wrong, when things are tough, when things are challenging, when your body gets sick or whatever it may be. How are you talking to yourself? That affects the quality of your life.
Wow. So that is so important, that self-talk and stomping on those automatic negative thoughts that happen. That is huge. And so that's a part of the Pranic Healing as well, just teaching people how to talk to themselves.
Between Pranic Healing and between Neuro-Linguistic Programming, yes. That's why people call me the Healing Alchemist. I combine these different sciences. I didn't mention Quantum Psychology, but I combine all these different things I've learned over the 30 years into what people call that's why they call me the Healing Alchemist, basically. Because I'll combine anything. I can do negative self-talk with energy medicine. I can do Pranic Healing, or I can do negative self-talk with NLP. I can do negative self-talk with quantum psychology. Just a matter of what the person responds the most to will determine what I use.
That's amazing. I've never heard of the quantum psychology. Do you want to just take a second and explain what that is?
Well, first of all, you have to realize that everything is energy. First, you have to know everything is energy. And that energy can flow properly, or it may flow improperly. So quantum psychology, what I would do is that if you had say for you were angry about something, you had anger. And with quantum psychology, I don't trace it all the way back. With quantum psychology, I say, where's the feeling at your body? You say, well, it's in my stomach. And I'll say, well, describe the feeling to me. Is it a heavy feeling, a light feeling? Is it moving around? Is it standing still? Is it, if it had a color, what color would it be? If it had a size, what size would it be? Is it in your body and outside of your body? Is it inside of your body? So I get all this information about the way you're storing this energy that represents anger in your body. And then what's the story you told yourself that's caused you to feel anger? What's the narrative that you're telling yourself that's causing you to feel anger? Then I'll have you imagine the area, the color, the shape, the size, the weight, all those things. I'll tell you to imagine the label, the narrative you're telling yourself about it. I have you pull off the narrative in your imagination, of course. And then you just deal with the energy. Then I have you move the energy around. Because if it's right here, and I tell you pull it outside your body, then I may tell you put it back in your body. Then I may tell you put it out of your body again, but make it bigger this time. Then make it smaller when it goes back in your body. Then make it bigger again next time you go out your body. Until finally, the energy that represents that anger just kind of becomes part of the background, part of the universe, and then it's gone. Then you try to get the anger again, it won't be there.
So, can I get angry about something else, or I never get angry again?
First of all, I'm very careful about that because there is ecology issues. You want people to be able to get angry. But angry when they're not angry based on a trigger. In other words, let's say you had a guy in your life or a person in your life, and they did something that got you angry. If you don't heal that, the next guy that comes in, your person comes in your life, guess what's gonna happen? If they do something similar to this other person, you're gonna be angry at them also. Because you already programmed that your data point is anger if this thing happens. And then the person that comes after that, if there's another person, if they do what the first person did, and then the second person that did it also, you're gonna be even more angry at that person. Because now it's building up. So that kind of anger you don't need. But the anger you would have if someone tried to rob you, or anger you would have someone try to harm your child, or you had an idea for a business, someone came and stole your idea for a business, that kind of anger you would still have. Because that anger is appropriate. But it's the programmed anger that we would get rid of.
That anger is appropriate in that moment. It's not appropriate maybe 5, 10, 15, like holding on to it for a long period of time.
It just depends what kind of anger it is. Anger and resentment is stored in the liver. So, and according to traditional Chinese medicine, different emotions are stored in different organs. So someone has anger, and I can tell you to think about the anger, and I can use my hands and get rid of the anger without even knowing what it's about.
Wow.
Because my hands are trained to do healing work, I can sense things, I can feel things, and be able to remove the energy blockages. That's what it's about. Healing is about removing the energy blockages, so the chi, or life force energy as they call it, flows through your body.
I'm getting worried. I'm like, does he see something right now? He could possibly.
I'm not trying to see right now. I'm turned off.
Good. This is really interesting. So one of the things that I wanted to also ask about, because you've said NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Why don't we also explain that a little bit, since you explained the quantum psychotherapy?
NLP is, to me, one of the most powerful tools on the planet. Now, people are using NLP and not calling it NLP. But there are a lot of people now that's doing change work that's just not saying it's NLP, but it really is. NLP, there are a lot of different definitions. And if you ask different practitioners, they'll give you different definitions. But the main thing, one of the main definitions is that NLP is a study of subjective experience. The study of subjective experience. In other words, how are the pictures you make inside your head, right? Inside your head, and things that you're saying to yourself, how are they affecting your nervous system and causing you to act and react a certain way? It's like having the software for your brain. How do you know to get mad? How do you know to get sad? How do you know to get depressed? How do you know when to get depressed? How do you know when to get sad? How do you know when to get angry? What's triggering it? NLP helps you go back and rewire your nervous system so you don't respond to those type of things over and over again. That's what NLP does. So it's the way the pictures you make inside your head and things you say to yourself affects your nervous system and cause you to act or react a certain way. That's why it's called the study of subjective experience. If you go to a traditional therapist and you say, I'm depressed, most talking therapists will say, about what are you depressed about? What I would say is, first of all, I'll say, well, Keisha, how long have you been depressed? And you say, about 12 years. I'd be like, and you look, right, exactly. That's the look I get when I do that too. Like, why are you clapping for me? I get that look every time. I'm clapping for you because you learned a new skill. You mastered something. You mastered being able to get depressed. So if you can master that, what else in your life can you master that you haven't mastered yet, that you may want to master, that will move your life forward? So you're seeing that right there. You see the way you're shaking your head, yes, now. That broke up some resistance already to changing.
That's so true.
Right.
That's so true.
So then I'll say, well, how do you do depression? If I were you and I want to be depressed the way you do it, what do I have to do to become depressed? So now you got to go inside your head and figure out what type of things you're saying to yourself, what kind of images you're making. And I guide you through that process because people never thought about it this way before. They never thought about it that way before. They like to tell their story over and over and over again. I don't really want to hear the story. You've told 15 people the story already. Now you're going to come tell me the story. No, I don't need to hear it. You just ingrain it deeper and deeper into your psyche. I don't need to hear the story. I need to know what are the components that make up the story and your nervous system that I need to change, help you change. And that's the way I work.
It's simple. It feels simple because it's just rethinking how you've already thought for years by explaining why I think that way.
It sounds simple, but it's not always as simple as it sounds.
I know it's not that simple, but it feels like a lot of people are stuck in their story, but they won't look at it from different views.
No, but they don't know how to. See, in most cases, Keisha, it's not their fault. Because a lot of the stuff they carry around is not their stuff. It's stuff your parents gave you, your aunt gave you, your uncle gave you, whoever it was, your coach gave you, church may have given you, a religion may have given to you. So it's not really your stuff. So it's not your fault. However, it is your responsibility once you know you have it. Once you know these things is blocking you, it's now your responsibility to do something about it, even though it wasn't your fault.
Right. It's definitely your responsibility to take
charge.
That off. So in my mind, I'm thinking about something that someone said one time. He was like, it's like he met someone that was beautiful, but she was convinced she was ugly. Because a long time ago, someone told her, maybe an aunt told her, you're ugly. And they put it on a t-shirt and she put it on and she's held this t-shirt, kept this t-shirt on, that she's ugly from childhood. She didn't buy that shirt on her own. Somebody gave it to her. And she's been wearing this shirt her entire life without wanting to take it off.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah.
So in that case, I would do a process called return to sender. Return to sender is the process that I do when people have given you something like that, or told you something about yourself that you accepted back then because you didn't have the intelligence or have the capability to discriminate. Plus, it may have been a person that was very important in your life who you believe, so when they said something negative to you, you accepted it as being true about yourself, but it really wasn't. So I have a technique called return to sender that's been life-changing for people, where they actually give that gift back. They give it back to the person as a gift. And that's done more in imagination and through visualization. But it works powerfully for people, very powerful for people.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm thinking about kids now that, they may have a teacher that tells them they're bad. So then they behave badly just because somebody told them, right? Or they aren't good at something. So then they just never try it because they were told they were never good at it. But that was never true for them.
I've worked with people like that, Keisha. The exact same scenario from school. I've literally worked with people like that before.
There's probably thousands of people like that out there. Millions.
There's lots of them, yes.
So today is the day.
I just happen to be a little retarded or not too sprite because they told me, because of my grades, I would never go to the college that I wanted to go to. My counselors told me, you will never get there with your grades. Forget about it. Just go get a job. And I was going to, and so one of my friends was going to the college I wanted to go to. And I said, well, can I ride with you? I want to at least see the school I'll never get into. And I went up there. I walked into the admissions office just to go in and look at the school and everything else. And I pleaded my case and walked out with a full scholarship.
You have to know what rooms to actually listen to what they're saying. Right? I was literally listening to something this morning about that. Like, it was interesting. The story was a man gave his grandson a pot, right? Gave his grandson a pot. And he said, go to a flea market and ask them how much they would give you for this pot. And he said, $5. When he went there, he took it, they said $5. He was like, okay, great. Now go to a pawn shop and ask them how much they would give you for this pot, right? And then he goes to a pawn shop and they say $25. And then he said, go to a museum, okay? Go to a museum and take this same pot. Take the same pot and take it to a museum. Take it to the curator. The curator at the museum starts looking at this pottery, right? And then they start bringing in experts to also look at it. They're looking at the signage on the back. They're looking at all the different parts. They said, this pot's worth $600,000. It's 3,000 years old, right? So depending on the room that you go into, they may not see the value in you that you have in yourself. And that's what happened in your case with your counselors. You were in a room where they didn't see the value. Whereas when you walked into that admissions office, they saw the value and they invested in it. And this is the result of that. Somebody that's been able to heal thousands of people in his lifetime, build companies up, make millions off of them. Like, this is the result of somebody knowing your value because of the room you were in. So you have to also decide who you're going to listen to when you're doing that, because not every room understands your value. And that's what some of these high schools and teachers, they don't understand the value because they may not be in that space. They may not have that expertise. So I think that really is a testament to just what I read this morning.
Well, I think it's interesting because when you were saying that, I think about how many rooms do we have in our head that we go into? Is there a room to say I'm not beautiful? Is there a room to say I'm not enough? Is there a room to say I don't deserve it? Is there a room to say I'm I'm living in poverty, or I have a poverty mentality? And then how does that affect our actions throughout the day? So I look at things through the lens of transformation most of the time in healing. So I like the story you told, and it's true about the college campus and the teachers telling me I can't make it. And it also is true for how we work inside of our own minds. how we program in our own minds. That was deep.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I wanted to also ask you is about kind of more the community and the connection that you've been doing. You've been in prisons, you've been in hospitals, you've been bringing healing to communities that do not usually have access to this kind of work. And what do you see when you walk into those rooms?
Well, you've done your research, huh? I never mentioned prisons, so I know you did your research. If you mentioned prisons, that's never been mentioned in any interview I've done before.
Hey, this is mystery to mastery, so.
Well, usually the way we meet these people is that we go to these health fairs. So a prison like Rikers Island specifically will have a health fair for not so much for the inmates, it's more for the correction officers and the staff. And we'll go there and we'll participate in the health fair and we get invited again and again and again. They take us inside the prisons once in a blue moon where we actually see the prisoners. But most 95% of the time, we're working with the staff, not with the prisoners themselves. Not yet anyway. That's the prison. The hospitals, it's once again, it's a health fair. Now, what they don't want us to do, because we were invited to Harlem Hospital, which I did at Pranic Healing training in the hospital, probably only ones in New York State, period, ever. Probably in the United States, I think there've been very few trainings where you go into a hospital and train the doctors and nurses who are interested in Pranic Healing or what they call energy medicine. So I did that in Harlem Hospital. But they didn't want us to work with the patients. We did the training. We had doctors, we had nurses, we had social workers, all come to the training to be trained. But then when it came to, okay, we've done the training, now we'll work with you inside the hospital with the patients, they were like, no. They would let us do administrative work, but they would let us do healing in the hospital with the patients, not under their watch per se. We had patients that came to us outside to work with us, but they would not let us work with the patients inside the hospital. And I guess there's insurance reasons and everything else that they do that you just can't work with people. So most of our work has been with hospital staff, with some patients when we go to the hospital and they see us out there, they'll come sit down. But like we got this great grand invitation, come on in and work with my patients. That hasn't happened. But and then doctors are very skeptical of the work. Most medical professionals are very skeptical of the work. They think that Pranic Healing is woo-woo. It's like woo-woo. They're more accepting of Neuro-Linguistic Programming because it's more behavioral, cognitive behavioral information, more so than Pranic Healing. They're pretty, except for more advanced people who have a larger territory to think from, meaning they have a expanded vision of what's possible. Those are the ones that usually invite us, and other ones, they don't invite us. And when I went to Harvard to speak, I spoke there because there's a woman who was in their divinity program, and she invited me there to speak because she experienced the work herself physically. And so she wanted to come and study with me. So she came down from Boston to study with me. And then she invited me to Harvard, or people at Harvard invited me to Harvard to speak about energy medicine, energy healing. And we did a demonstration with someone right there on the campus that couldn't lift his shoulder anymore. His shoulder couldn't go any higher than this. And by the time we finished the demonstration, he was doing like this. So he became a believer.
Wow.
Not very easily, after about 20 minutes of work probably. And they sat there and watched the demonstration. So they saw we didn't touch him at all. But they were kind of fascinated by it, and I explained to them the same thing, that everything is energy. And once I shift the energy of the non-physical body, the physical body responds. You need to have a session.
So this is pain that you can relieve just with your mind.
Well, we move the pain out. We move the blockages out the way that cause the pain. Why, do you have a pain?
Yeah. I'm aging, okay? I don't want to say it, but like the hips, the knees, all that stuff is just starting to. So I'm interested about that.
Is there something bothering you now?
Yeah, my knee is bothering me right now. So on my right knee, because I had a surgery on that knee. I tore the ACL when I was trying to be a gymnast, and I'm not a gymnast. So yeah, that does bother me from time to time. I haven't done much with it, but that's
Is it
what was
bothering you
bothering
now?
me. Now?
Is it bothering you now?
It stopped. No. It was a second ago, but no.
Okay. I scared it, huh?
I guess so. I'm like looking at it like, it was weird. Okay.
Well, when you're talking, we're communicating, right?
Right.
So we are exchanging energy, right?
Right.
And I am a healer, right?
Yeah.
So it is possible that you'll pick up the energy automatically without me trying to do anything to help to make it feel better. That's definitely possible. Just like you talk to someone that feels bad, you make them feel better. No matter how bad, same thing as energy. You cannot not communicate. Like I said, you're communicating all the time. So it is possible. I'm not claiming anything. I'm not claiming I did that, but I'm saying it is possible. It won't be the first time that I've talked to someone on the phone that had pain or whatever it was and it went away.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. I'll have to really try. I really want to try this out because there's no reason for me to walk around just holding it in, That's interesting. Okay. That's one of my favorite words. That's interesting. But this is truly interesting because people don't know about it. And your doctors that are supposed to be able to do this don't want to, right?
Oh, they don't know how to. They were trained.
But you train them.
They were trained. Oh, you mean the doctors at the hospital? Okay. Oh, those doctors. No, they didn't really incorporate. The only one that incorporated was a social worker. She incorporates it. There's a woman that's an audiologist that deals with the ears. She's incorporated. But the people that were in pain medicine did not incorporate it, which was interesting.
Yeah. Because if people are actually healed.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's sad that's how.
It's not a healthcare system, it's a symptom care system.
Right.
We manage the symptoms. What I look for a lot of times are the cause, not the symptoms.
Right.
If I get rid of what caused it, then the symptoms go away.
Exactly. This information needs to definitely be out. One of the things you have is a book. Stop, Drop, and Roll. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your book? Because it makes you really think, what can I do to keep rolling in my life and keep it moving?
Well, stop is the thing that most people don't do. They don't take time to stop and reflect. What's going on in your life, Keisha, physically, as far as your physical health is concerned? What's going on in your life when it comes to your mental health? What's going on in your life when it comes to your spiritual health, your financial health? What's going on in all those areas of your life? Most people spend your family life, most people spend a lot of their time worrying about their career. I can't tell you how many people I worked with that's that's wealthy, that are very sick. Or they're wealthy, and they don't know their family. They spend all their time building their business and careers. That was most important to them. And supporting their family to them was most important to them, but they supported it in an unhealthy way, whereas they gave money, but they didn't give their time, they didn't give their love. So the kids didn't really know them. They knew they provided the money and the clothing and trips, but they didn't really know their dad or whoever it was, their mom. So a lot of people will walk around that look like they're healthy, like everything's going on, but inside they are as miserable as you can ever imagine. They can't sleep at night and everything else. I can't tell you how many of those people I worked with. So stop is about just stopping and reflecting on where you are in your life right now. What stopped you from living your dreams? What stopped you from having the life you want to have? What stopped you from making the presentation you want to make? What stops you from making the phone calls you should make to follow up with people? What are you doing that's preventing you from living this life of freedom? Then when you find out what that is, having the tools and techniques to drop it. Because sometimes people know what it is that they need to do, but they don't know how to stop it. So they'll continue the same pattern over and over and over again. So the stop part is about identifying the pattern. The drop part is about now getting rid of the pattern, eliminating the pattern, whatever it may be. Whether it's fear of success, failure, rejection, whether it's that you don't think you're good enough or you feel hopeless or helpless, whatever it may be, whatever that pattern is, to drop it. And the different techniques I teach during that part to help you drop it. And one of the major things that we have to drop is our unforgiveness. There have been people who did things to us in our lives that we're still holding on to. There are people who said things to us in our lives that we're still holding on to. And sometimes we forgive ourselves even holding on to it that long. And then take that kind of effect on us. So forgiveness is a big part of the drop is forgiveness. Forgiving yourself, forgiving others, forgiving yourself for holding on to stuff, forgiving yourself for what you've done to other people, and then also forgiving the people who've done something to you. So there are 3 different levels of forgiveness. That's an important part of the drop also. And then you gotta drop people. There may be people in your life that are just toxic and you know it, but they're family members, so you feel you gotta talk to them, you gotta put up with them, everything else. But you can love them at a distance. You have to let them steal your energy, steal your joy, steal your divinity. So you have to drop people. You have to drop habits. You have to drop your negative self-talk. You got to drop the fact that you are visualizing a negative future instead of a positive future and looking at things in a negative way instead of a positive way. So that's the drop part, to be able to drop whatever it is that's stopping you from moving forward. Then the roll part is the part that's fun also, because that's when you get to create the life you want and roll right into it. And even when you're rolling sometime, you run into an obstacle. So what do? You stop, you look at what the obstacle is, what needs to be released, you drop, start rolling again. You may run into something else. You stop, you reflect on what it is, you drop it, you roll again, until you roll right into the life you want to live. So that's what the book's really about. It's about being able to stop, drop, and roll into a life of your dreams, into a life of freedom, basically.
It's amazing. When you said drop, I immediately thought of the t-shirt. Take that t-shirt off, right? Just, yes.
Yeah, definitely. Then you gotta drop, then you have to drop the programming that came with the t-shirt. That's a good example. So person wears the t-shirt. So first you have to reflect, do I really want this t-shirt on me? What's this t-shirt saying about me? So then you take it off. So you dropped it physically, but now what beliefs have you created around yourself and who you are and how you look based on that t-shirt? And a lot of times what we have to drop are our limiting beliefs. Mm-hmm. And beliefs change in 45 minutes. Forget affirmations. My course for people who tried affirmations, visualization, storyboards, all that stuff, they didn't work for them as well. Not that they didn't work as well. Because if you can change a belief in 45 minutes, you don't need affirmation. The purpose of affirmation, to me, this is my Harlem definition of an affirmation. It's a lie that you tell yourself over and over again until you begin to believe it. It's a lie that you tell yourself over and over again until you start to believe it. So affirmations are just creating a belief. But I have ways of doing that without doing any affirmations at all. And it's faster. And you don't have the same resistance. So if you said to me, say you want to gain weight, you say, I now weigh 175 pounds. Your mind says, you're right. You know, you have the gatekeeper saying, no, that's a lie. That's not true. I want to be I'm a millionaire. No, you're not. Your mind is going to do those things to you. So, you know, the belief changes, it speeds things up. So my whole thing is about being elegant, being able to do it faster and better than most people can do it, and make change happen quickly, rapidly, and permanently. So stop, drop, and roll. That's the most anyone has ever gotten out of me describing stop, drop, and roll, actually. You
really?
Girl, yeah.
Well, make sure it will be a link on our webpage as well. We will be making a mysteryai.net/Jeffrey Noble, and all of your links to your books and workbook to go along with this episode will be available there for our listeners.
I will send it to my whole mailing list also, your link.
That's awesome. Great. Yes, that'll be great. The next thing, if somebody wanted to get started with Pranic Healing, with the Noble Touch, what do they need to do with starting a journey like yours?
They will need to contact us at info@thenobletouch.org. That's number one, info@thenobletouch.org. Our website is www.thenobletouch.org. And I got to find my phone numbers. I don't know.
Well, we'll put all that information on the webpage. But what about just like, if you just make the decision and get in touch, is basically, or any other steps?
You have a discovery call first. We can find out whether or not what's going on, whether or not you are fit for the way we do work. Because if you're someone that wants to just come in and talk, it's not for me. Most of my healers don't want to sit down and listen to your story. And some people just want to talk. If you want to just talk, go to a healing, go to a psychologist, social worker. If you want to transform, then you come see us. So we're not for everybody.
Okay.
I don't want, people get mad. I tell them up front, I'm not going to want to hear your story. I may seem rude, so I'm going to cut you off. So I know what I need to hear to decide what to do. And tell me your whole story I don't need. Let me ask the questions.
Okay. That sounds amazing. The next thing I want to say is, before we close out, I want to just take a moment and ask the community to leave a few comments about what they learned today. And also, we will be reading those comments in later episodes as well. And make sure you like and subscribe and do all those things as well. Share it to somebody that may need it.
Can I give them a tool? Can I give them a tool? Okay.
Yes.
I like to leave tools. I like to drop some pearls they can use. Because this talk is cute, but I'm a results person. So two things. And you can try this yourself, as a matter of fact. We're going to use you as the demonstration.
Okay.
So, do you ever have any negative self-talk?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So now, and I'm doing this to you, but this is for your whole audience to practice this also. Where does the voice come from? In other words, is it on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, the top? Where's the voice come from?
I think it comes from right here, underneath, right in my ribs.
Right in your ribs. Left side or right side? I know it's the right side, but it's left side or right side?
Feels like the middle.
Middle? Okay. All right. Now, and what's that voice say? Don't tell me, but just hear that voice. I don't want to know what it says. Just hear the voice talking to you the way it does, but criticizing yourself. You got it? Mm-hmm. It's coming from your stomach area, you said, right? You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Whose voice is it?
Mine.
Okay. So now what I want you to do is hear that same voice, but hear from your left ear. What happens?
Well, I was kind of saying I can't do it, but in my left ear, it's just saying, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Right. So all you did was move the voice from one location in your body to a different location, and it changed the communication.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's just one tool. No matter, the first thing to do is once again, stop, identify where the voice is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Drop whatever it's saying or move whatever it's saying to somewhere else. And it sends a totally different signal to your nervous system. That voice is only powerful where it's located. Once you change the location, the nervous system is saying, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be up here. So it sends a totally different signal to your nervous system. Now, do me a favor, just for the fun of it. Move it to your right toe. And hear the same voice being critical.
Okay.
Don't feel the same, does it?
No, it feels like a tingling in my toe.
Right. But the feeling that's stopping you is not there. The self-criticism is not there. So once again, once you take any voice or anything like that and you move the location alone, the other thing, that's just one aspect. There's like 14 different variables. But just changing location alone actually changes the signals that you send into your nervous system. So you respond differently. You don't feel as bad. You can't get depressed about it because you're hearing it up here now. It's not the same communication. Also, let's think about somebody you like. You got a picture of them? Someone besides me that you like.
Yeah. Yeah, I got my dad.
Okay. Now think about somebody, oh, you like your dad? This is going to be fun. You like your dad? Okay, great. So let's play with this then. You want to play with this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. This is for your audience once again. They can do the same thing. So in the picture of your dad, you see in your mind's eye, where's the picture located? Is it in front of you? Is it the left side, right side?
Right side.
Okay. Is it in color or black and white?
Color.
Okay. So I want you to do is imagine turn the switch and make it a black and white image.
Okay.
And do you feel the same about your dad, or has it decreased some?
Yeah, I feel the same.
Okay. Now push the picture further away from you, so it's the size of a poster stamp of your dad. A black white poster stamp.
Okay.
And what happens now?
Nothing.
It still feels exactly the same.
Yeah.
You don't sound too sure about that. Bring it back to where it started from, on the right-hand side.
Okay.
And he feels amazing, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure. It's just this eye, and in a picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a clear picture. It's kind of blurry, right. And he's just in a suit.
Okay, is it a picture? Is it a movie, or is this a still image?
It's a still picture of him in a suit.
Okay, so you move that picture real small in a suit. We can barely see it. Does it change the feeling, or does it stay the same?
I'm not sure. Like, what kind of feeling?
What happened? Whatever feeling you had. Think of a scene. Let's not do your dad. Maybe that's too hard for you because he's so much part of your heart. Let's think about somebody else or gets on your nerve or something that happens. Do you procrastinate a lot?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's do procrastination then. Let's just play with it for a moment. So think about something you're procrastinating on.
Okay. Can I just, is it something that I have to do now or something like, or just in general, like I don't want to get out of bed in the morning?
I want you to think about something you have to do now.
Okay.
All right. Because once again, and tell me about that image. And if I was really doing this, I would ask you a lot of more questions. I'm trying to make this short for the people.
I know, right?
I
feel like I would be a lot of work.
You probably be fun. I don't know about a lot of work, but you'd be fun.
I have like after this episode, I'm gonna have to do all the editing and do all of that, put together the web page, all of that, and I may not do it immediately, which means that other things will start happening, which means that once all those things start happening, then I have to then find time to do it. And that's when I'll be procrastinating, because when there is time, I might not use it for that.
So how do you make this a priority?
I'm going to put it in a time block.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
You do time blocking then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you do all the right things. Gee, I don't block anything except for
really?
my car.
How do you? Okay.
I do things done, just that I don't, I'm very unstructured at times, but let's go back to procrastination. So think about something else besides this you procrastinate on, something else altogether different.
Okay, something that I'm actually probably cleaning.
Okay. When you think about cleaning, do you see an image in your head that's moving or still image?
Moving.
So now you got a picture of cleaning, but it's a moving. So that means you're not that means that you're somewhat motivated to do it then.
Yeah, I have a deadline coming up.
Okay.
It needs to get done.
Once again, it's not a good example because anytime someone's procrastinating on something, normally it's a still image. There's no movement in the image.
Oh.
I've done it all over the world. There's no movement in the image, and that's why they're procrastinating. When they add movement to it and make the movement faster and faster and faster and faster, then it seems to go away. They seem to be motivated.
Oh, I guess I'm not procrastinating as much as I think I am.
Well, it's that because I don't think you're procrastinating as much as you think you. I think that you have an order in which you do things. So you have more of a what's next as opposed to procrastination.
Yes.
You understand the difference?
I want to get things done a lot earlier rather than the last minute.
Yeah.
because the last minute will make me move. And right now, this cleaning is last minute. It has to happen. So I got to stop, do that, and then get the rest of the
So you get
stuff.
that cleaning mode. If you get in that cleaning mode and you want to come to New York, let me know. I'll buy you a ticket. You come to New York. While you're in that cleaning groove, I can bring you to New York.
That's funny. Yeah, every now and then I'll have like a burst of energy in the middle of the night, and then all the cleaning will get done, right? So I will just be like, okay, and I'll just do it. Now I have a different podcast I listen to where she talks while you clean up. We all clean together, and that helps as well. So
group cleaning, okay.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to say to your audience also, though, the last thing is that if you have a picture of something or someone or a situation, normally if you move the picture further away from you, make it black and white, it decreases your feelings. 100% thinking about someone you like, besides your dad, someone you like, and you move that picture further away from you and make it black and white, it's going to take away the feelings because it's being represented in a different place in your nervous system once again. So that's more of the NLP way of doing things. Pranic Healing, I'll just do like this and it goes away.
I can see why I was resistant to that.
Yeah.
Because there's no way I wouldn't want to like my...
No, but see, the thing about it, here's the key though. The key is having mastery over it, because you would have never let your father go, but you would have brought him back anyway. He could have stayed down there no matter what I did. He could have stayed down there. You would have brought him back anyway. But that was your resistance. That was your dad.
Yeah.
You know, you knew intuitively what can happen. So you were very hesitant about doing it, period. But you just didn't know why. But now you know why if I explain what happens.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do that.
Right. So you were a resistant client, see?
Yeah.
I run into y'all once in a while. Every now and then I run into y'all. But you know, people need to know that we all came here loaded and coded with gifts. Most of us get our gifts covered up by reality, or what we call reality, which is we had parents when we grew up. I really believe that everybody was born to win but conditioned to lose. I'll say it again. I really believe that everybody was born to win but conditioned to lose. We don't stop children when they just learn to walk and they fall. We don't say you failure. You can never be able to walk. Here's a t-shirt that says you'll never be able to walk. We don't do that to kids. We continue to encourage them to walk over and over and over again until they be able to walk and everything else. But as adults, as we become older, our parents start telling us what we can do, what we can't do. You know, the media tells us what we can do, what we can't do, what's expected of us. And we buy into all these different programs. So who we are, Keisha, that includes me and you. Who we are right now is not necessarily who we are made to be. We're not necessarily operating out of our divinity totally. We operate out of the programs that's been plugged into our computer called the brain that we're responding to now. And what people need to know is that there are people out there right now that's praying for Keisha to come and show them something, to provide some type of service for them. No matter who you are, there are people out there praying for you. There's prayers with your name on just floating in the universe that we sometimes never get to. We have to come to another lifetime, if you believe in past lives, because we missed it this lifetime. But we all have gifts. Jeff cannot heal, is not meant to heal everybody. Everybody's not my assignment. There are people who divinity has assigned to Keisha and no one else but Keisha. No matter what Jeff does, Jeff's not gonna have the same impact on that person that Keisha would have because they were assigned to Keisha. So we have to learn to do is know that we are here to be of service, and that we have to realize that we are God's unique creation. There'll never be another Keisha. There's no Keisha before you, won't be one after you that has the same imprint on this universe that you have. So what we have to do is step from behind the curtains of fear, doubt, and worry and let God show us off. Because we were born originals, so we should not die copies.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jeff. You are the kind of person that we all need in our lives to help us move forward and really stop, drop, and roll forward. So definitely thank you for being on this podcast. Thank you for sharing your story and sharing the benefits of what you do with us. I'm sure a lot of people may have never even heard of this as an option, and this is going to completely open up their eyes, that they can literally just take something that they're feeling and move it to a new area and get a whole new way of seeing things and hearing things, even if they just take it and move the picture back and forth. All those tools are very valuable, and I can't wait to hear what people have learned from this. So if you have been part of this conversation today and you've been inspired, or you've tried a tool, or you've done something, we want to hear from you. And whether you want to be a guest on Mystery to Mastery, or you want to get your brand out in front of this audience as a sponsor, the link will be in the show notes as well. And get on my calendar and let's talk. That will be a wrap for today's episode today. Thank you so much, Jeff, for being on. This has been hugely valuable, not just to the audience, but really to me as well. So thank you again.
Well, if you ever want a session, just let me know and I will complimentally give you a session.
Thank you. I will be using that. And also, people leave a comment. I read all of them, and I may just shout you out on the next episode. Until next time, keep going from mystery to mastery. Before I let you go, if today's conversation inspired you and you have something to share with this community, I want to hear from you. Whether you want to be a guest on Mystery to Mastery, or you want to get your brand in front of this audience as a sponsor, the link is in the show notes. Get on my calendar and let's talk. See you next time on the Mystery to Mastery podcast.